Hi, hello, good morning, and welcome to this week's serving of Mickey Waffles, a Disney podcast where we cover everything from parks, movies, and merchandise. My name is Sinead.
My name's Kate. Hi, guys. How's it going?
I'm good, Kate. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm still here.
Where everybody's just still
Everyone's just
there.
still here.
How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been fine. Nothing overly exciting has happened. I made brownies, made banana bread. I feel like I made something else that I don't think I did. I made cupcakes last week.
Beautiful.
But last
your
night,
cupcakes looked amazing. I have to give it to you.
they were
Not
actually,
that your brownies and your banana bread didn't,
like,
but the
excuse me.
cupcakes in particular.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That's all
Nice.
I've been doing. Yep.
Fun times.
What about you? I know you've been working.
Yeah,
that's all you do.
Still working away. About the most exciting thing I have going on is I booked a week off for the first week of June because we have a bank holiday anyway, so I only had to use 4 days. But I feel so mentally exhausted that I was like, I've taken 1 day's holiday so far this year, so I think I'm going to use up some.
Yeah, I think it's quite hard for, like, I think it's quite easy for people to be like, oh, you have it easier than me during lockdown and all this sort of stuff. But I think it's like pretty hard on everyone quite equally because you've got people who are furloughed or part-time layoff who have absolutely no purpose. And then you've got people who are still doing their jobs at home, but have like either like a loss of purpose or like they want to overachieve because that's what happens when you work from home a lot. And it's like, I'm not doing enough because... And it can be like difficult to figure out like when to leave. And when
like
to stop working.
Yeah. Like I'm quite good. I do try to really like stick to my work times. And even if I'm like working from a different part of the house because I get bored of sitting in my office, I will take my stuff and leave it back into my office and put my laptop and my phone on charge and just leave them in there and close the door and not even think about them again until I have to go back in the morning. So yeah, that's probably about the most exciting thing that I've done this week was book my week off. I'm very much looking forward to it.
That's so exciting.
It's exciting time.
Woo!
So we don't have a guest this week.
No, we don't. In case you didn't notice, right after we said hello, there was no special guest Tuesday. Ellen asked if we wanted her to come on just to say hello and then leave again, just so that we could
play the jingle.
Yeah. She was like, "Well, I just like come on and say hi and then be like bye." I was like, "Maybe
enjoy the commitment.
We'll see how the lockdown still goes, and we'll see where we're at."
Yeah. If you do have a Disney experience that you would like to come and talk to us about, let us know. Send us a DM. We'll talk to anybody.
Oh yeah,
always welcoming new faces.
We love people to sell us the extortionate experiences that Disneyland Paris have to offer.
I had a dream during the week where me and Bref had a conversation about 2 weeks ago when the Euro Millions was like 80 million. I was like, what would we do if we won? And I actually had a dream that I did win.
Wow.
So me, you and Amy went and did Castle Club and like did the sparkling experience and had a wonderful time.
I love that it was me, you and Amy and not you and Bref.
Oh no, it was me. It was the three of us. It was a collective thing. So yeah, we had another one of our Disney drinks. That's something that we've done since we recorded last.
That's very true. That was actually very fun. It was highly enjoyable.
That was number 4.
Yeah, I think so. I do it by the amount of quizzes I've written.
Yeah.
So I think it must be number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. We had some more lovely new people join us as well as the existing ragtag group that we usually have. We also had Nick, the lovely Nick from the Disney Parks and Beyond podcast. And more importantly,
guys, I got to meet Alice, right? And it was honestly the most, I was so happy, and this poor 6-year-old child was so scared, and all I wanted to do was be friends with her, and she was like, hey, I'm gonna hi, and she's obviously like the epitome of politeness, and she just knew that she had to say hi and just stand there.
It was very funny.
But yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, it was a really good time. So the next time we're going to be running one of these is the 29th of May. So next Friday, there will be another one.
I'd just like to mention that Alice is Nick's daughter. We didn't invite this 6-year-old girl.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I was like, the way that sounded, it was like, Alice, come on our Zoom.
No, we did not do that. We had parental consent. He did get off his chair and go and find his daughter. We did not bring a 6-year-old.
Didn't even ask. He went of his own accord. Just FYI there. Just want to let everyone know.
I'm glad that you flagged that, so it wasn't just this weird group of Disney adults and a 6-year-old. So.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It sounded weird. Just wanted to let everyone know.
But if you would like to join our next quiz, it'll be taking place on the 29th of May, which is bank holiday weekend. So happy days.
4 days before my birthday.
Woohoo!
FYI.
And you get to be the ripe old age of
24.
Oh, fun times.
Big old 24. What does it mean? Nothing. You know, the age 24 means absolutely fucking nothing.
Oh.
Not in a bad way, just like there's nothing special about it. Like when you're 21, you're 21, and when you're 22, it's like, oh, I was 21 but I'm 22, and then even when it's 25, you're like halfway in the middle, and 24 is one of those like, you're getting through it ages.
Yeah. Pretty. I can't even defend it because I can't remember anything in particular about 24. I feel like 26 was a good year.
Yeah, see, 26, I feel like
26 was a solid year.
Like 26 and then 28 and then you've got your 30s. But there's something about the 24 evenness that just doesn't hit.
Yeah, I feel you.
Or I could just do what all the Facebook posts say and don't take this year and I'll just stay 23 for another year.
You could do the Sam approach.
Oh, yeah. What age am I? 1 year less than I am. I must be 22, which means I'll be 23.
Hey. Right. So with all that said and done, shall we get on with the news?
Let's do it. Okay, so where do you want to start?
Will we start
have small amounts of news.
Will we start with the news from today?
About Disney Springs.
Yeah.
Great, cool. Yeah, so Disney Springs opened today. So for anyone fact checking, no, we didn't record on Tuesday, we recorded on Wednesday. Yeah, so Disney Springs opened today. It only opened with a select number of outlets open, and it didn't open with any Disney-owned companies. I know you didn't watch the Tim Tracker video, but in the Tim Tracker video, oh, you did watch it. Oh, no, it's the other video you didn't watch. Sorry, my bad. I didn't know Deluxe Burger was owned by Disney.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Now, like, in my mind, all of those restaurants are just third-party restaurants. But,
yeah,
of course, some of them would be owned by Disney, but that blew my mind. Anyway, so, so Disney Springs opened today with a lot of measures that are pretty similar to ones that we saw in Shanghai, actually. It was very similar, like the stickers on the ground and all that sort of stuff. And I'm surprised that they have that big "Don't Stand in This Block" sticker.
Yeah.
Because I think they're very confusing to have, like, stand here, but then don't stand here. I feel like it's a lot to get around. But, yeah, I mean, so far it looks like it's pretty empty. And a lot of people are pretty happy about that. Some people are happy because they think they're fighting back at Disney because no one should have to wear a mask to go to Disney. And then I think some people are happy because they know that it's way too early for any, like, public mall outlet to, like, open.
Sorry, the little recording fox has made an appearance in the garden again. She's like running about. Anyways, if anybody hasn't seen, so for some reason Disney decided that they were going to do a media event about their COVID-19 restrictions.
To be honest,
I thought was quite funny, necessary but funny.
Yeah, because like when City Walk opened in Universal, everyone was like, oh, what are they going to do? Because people want to know what the things put in place are. And like when Tim said, like there was a lot of news outlets, like actual media outlets there that are going to put it on the local news and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But it is very Disney to be like, let's have a party.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen what the restrictions are, or if you would just like a very clear, concise, straightforward, very non-biased view of the restrictions that are in place in Disney Springs and will likely be in place as and when the parks start to reopen as well, Tim Tracker has a really, really good video. It's only about 10 minutes long, and it is very informative. It is very non-biased as to being pro one thing or the other, or whatever the hell is going on. So would recommend giving it a watch and kind of getting a gauge for what it's like.
My favorite bit from that video is when they had the Disney ambassadors demonstrating how you keep 2 meters apart from people in a queue. And I was like, man, we've been doing that here for the past 2.5 months in Tesco. I wish, man, can I be a Disney ambassador? I know how to do that.
I mean, I'll be a Tesco ambassador.
You know, I was just like, okay, sure. I mean, I understand from Disney's perspective to be like, we have shown you everything down to the T of what you have to do to be here, to the point of showing you how to queue. So
this is true. People can't complain that they didn't know or they weren't told, or
made me laugh.
It's so ridiculous.
Because they're dressed in like perfect like neutral outfits, and the girl's in like her nun skirt with her little ballet pumps, and she's like, I'm Disney.
Yeah.
I was like, a couple things
to note from it. Starbucks had a welcome back drink available exclusively in Disney Springs, which was like, it was like a frappuccino, and Disney Food Blog posted a tweet about it, and it was like dragon fruit and mango or something like that, and then had like a ginger whipped cream or something, but it was like a welcome back drink.
Do you think it's really just stuff that they have overstock of, that if they don't get rid of soon, that they're going to have to just throw it away?
Absolutely. And one of the food outlets had Dole Whip nachos available, which is seemingly a new thing. So it's like great. Dole Whip, and it's like waffle is like cut into the shape of like tortilla chips.
Nice.
And like toppings and stuff. I don't know. I don't like pineapple, so I wouldn't be a fan of it, but I can imagine Kate would really enjoy it.
I love me some pineapple. I also know that Joffrey's were giving away a mug with
very good.
Any retail purchase. So like not a coffee.
Oh, if you bought actual coffee.
Yeah, or like a cup or something, I guess.
Yeah, fair.
It's interesting to see how they're like, hey, come buy our things.
Yeah. So that was all the third party outlets, and then is it from the 27th? So next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Disney owned outlets are going to start reopening as well, so it'll be interesting to see what crowds are like when actual Disney owned properties start opening again,
because it's going to be like World of Disney, the Mercantile, and something else I can't remember, but it's like the fact that World of Disney is opening, I think that's the big hitter, because it's going to be like actual Disney merch and product and ears and spirit jerseys and all of that pizzazz.
Oh my.
And then City Walk also opened as well. Sorry,
that's literally what I was going to say.
Oh, great, cool, great lines. City Walk opened. Was it 2 days ago? No, last week.
It was at the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, my relative space and time is gone. We could be anywhere right now, but they opened, and it just seemed like nobody gave a toss about anything.
Yeah, a lot of the reports were that whilst people were wearing masks going through the temperature checks and stuff like that, a lot of guests were seen wandering down with their masks under their chin. You may as well not be wearing one, or had just taken them off altogether. And when they were approached by team members, they were just told, oh, it's too hot, I'm not wearing it. And it didn't seem like it was being as enforced as you would hope.
Yeah.
But the main kind of thing I took from everybody being at City Walk was that, one, everybody was whinging that the music wasn't on in the parks, and it's kind of like, lads, there's bigger fish to fry. And two, Voodoo Donuts must have made an absolute killing, because it just seemed like everybody was getting their Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah,
which I can't blame them.
No, to be honest, neither can I. But also, it is funny when you see the split in comments on social media, because people are like, wow, I hope your donuts were really worth it. Because, like, was it really worth it? Yeah. It's just a time, isn't it? Yeah. I saw a TikTok, and it was some dude in America in a car, and he was like, wow, I love how America is just like, we don't like Corona anymore, we're done with her, we're just gonna open again.
Honestly.
Which is basically what's happening.
I saw a tweet, and it was like, the rest of the world is watching America the way America watched Tiger King, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh wow, that's deep. That's
a deep cut. It's a hot take.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything regarding outside shopping outlets.
Yeah, that's everything from kind of, I suppose, the Orlando area, shall we say. We did get an update about Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is a bit of a struggle bus park, kind of a little bit like DLP used to be. No, I'm not going to say still is, because DLP is on the up and up.
Yeah, I think Hong Kong is definitely on the bottom of the bottom rung of the parks. Like, it's definitely struggling the most.
Yeah, financially. We're not commenting on the actual park itself. We've not been.
Oh,
we can't
like,
comment on that. But financially,
it's always financially, yeah.
So there were a lot of kind of rumors going around as to whether people thought Hong Kong would ever reopen or whether they would ever financially recover enough to be able to reopen the park. However, it is going to start soft opening to just cast members starting tomorrow.
Yep, 21st of May. It's going to start soft opening. Who knows? So they're going in, I think they're going in to like just basically test out social distancing measures and putting everything in place and seeing how it's going. But I'm going to assume that it's pretty much exactly the same thing that they've got going on in Shanghai, since the stickers and the markings and stuff are the same things we're now after seeing in Disney Springs. I have a feeling that they've bought all these stickers from one provider and they're like, yeah, use them everywhere.
Consistency.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Hong Kong. I'm genuinely surprised that they are reopening it so soon. I suppose they're like, I wonder, is there a part of them that thinks that because it has been closed for so long, it might help like rejuvenate it a bit, and people will be maybe like, oh, you know, I haven't been to Disney in so long, let's go, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with it when they decide to open back up to the public.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's weird times. Weird times. So the only other kind of thing that we've had so far, there are due to be more announcements about the reopening of some of the parks. Did you say from tomorrow, Kate?
Yeah, so what was the title of that thing? Walt Disney World are proposing their opening plans to, it's called like it's the most American title ever. It's like Orange County Survival Task Force reopening something. It's like all big wow words. It's like, I'm important. So yeah, they're bringing big wow words. They're bringing their proposal to like how they're going to open and when they're going to open to like the task force of Orange County, so that they can decide if it's okay. Even though I thought the mayor already said that they could just do whatever they wanted. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I suppose keep an eye out for, I mean, by the time this comes out, that'll have already been announced. So let us know what you think and we'll chat about it and give you our thoughts on next week's episode.
I have a feeling we'll definitely put it up on the Instagram, because I remember when Disney Springs was said to open, I freaked out on the Instagram and I was like, what is going on?
we just have zero chill at the minute, guys.
Like, why are they doing this?
So little chill coming from this direction.
Little off key there. McDonald's opened. A couple of McDonald's opened back up today in Ireland, and in one place they had to call the Garda, which is the police, the Garda copter out to witness the traffic, because the traffic was so bad from people in the drive-through.
That was Tala, wasn't it, Kate?
I think it was. Yeah, wasn't going to mention it by name, but you know, I was just going to say singular McDonald's.
I won't lie, my dad was a little bit devastated that there's a drive-through McDonald's quite close to where I live, and my dad was honestly a little bit heartbroken.
Do you know the problem with that?
It wasn't one of the ones that reopened.
It's
so small.
It's in such a tight area that as soon as you have more than maybe 8 cars, you're out onto the road, and then you block. And there are other things open in that area that you're going to block everything. So it is also itself a tiny McDonald's. It doesn't seat very many people. Not that you can go and sit in it, but like as just a McDonald's, it's very tiny. Yeah,
but the actual like area around it, to be able to drive around it, it's so tight that you couldn't have any amount of people waiting in any way, shape or form. So I think it'll be a while before that one reopens.
I agree, sadly.
But sticking with the news theme.
Yes, sorry.
So the only kind of last bit of news that we had is that it was announced yesterday evening, so on the 19th of May, that there has been a bit of an executive shake-up in the Walt Disney Company.
And for once, it's someone we like to see.
Oh, we love to see it. Love to see it. So, like a lot of people had assumed, so Josh D'Amaro, who had been made the president of the Walt Disney World Resort, has now been given the title of chairman of Disney Parks Experience and Products.
Does he
finally
just look like a happy little child who's been given like a rock for Christmas, and he's like, I love this rock, thank you so
He's
much.
like that avocado kid, you know, the kid that gets an avocado for Christmas. He's like that.
And he's like, oh my god, I love avocado.
Yeah, I get such good vibes from Josh D'Amaro and Pete Werner, who I feel like, do we ever have an episode recently that we don't mention Pete Werner in some way, shape or form?
No, I love him.
What a guy. He knows Josh from what I've heard on his shows anyways, he knows Josh quite well. He has a very high opinion of Josh D'Amaro. And I pretty much take Pete's opinion of Disney stuff by law.
Oh, yeah. Whatever he says goes. So that's just the end of it.
Except for probably, I don't know what his opinions are or would be of things in Paris. And I feel like I'm equipped enough to make my own
That's very true.
decisions on that. But stuff to do with the States, I trust Pete's opinion implicitly. So if he thinks Josh is a good guy and Josh is going to do wonders for the parks, I trust him. I do.
Fair.
Then the former head of the Disneyland Resort, Rebecca Campbell, has now been made the chairman of Direct to Consumer and International, which I don't really know what that means. To be honest,
I've heard direct to consumer.
Is that like Disney Plus?
I think, yeah, I assume so. Yeah, and is it like Disney Plus and Disney Channel and that sort of stuff? Literally stuff that goes directly to the consumer. Like it's not like it doesn't go into the theaters or the cinemas or anything like that, because that's got a middleman. It just goes direct to the consumer's household. I assume that's what it means, because that would go hand in hand pretty well with international.
This is very true. And she is replacing Kevin Mayer, who left Disney to go and head TikTok.
That baffles my mind. Like, imagine being like, yeah, so I was direct to consumer and international chairman for Disney, and now I work at TikTok.
Like, honestly, ridiculous.
It's such a, like, he must be getting paid tons.
Millions.
TikTok,
millions.
TikTok. No, TikTok.
That's up
is
to
not going to.
Kate.
TikTok isn't going to be around forever, because it's just not. It's one of those apps like Vine, like it's just going to go, or like Snapchat Snapchat will never be as popular as it used to be, and all this sort of stuff. So he must be getting paid a lot to take the head of a company that everyone knows is going to depreciate within like 4 years time.
There's a ticking time frame on it. So.
Mad, that it's just mad.
Ticking talking time frame. There we go. Okay, I'll stop. And then we also had the announcement of the two people that will be taking over from Josh and Rebecca. So we have Jeff Vail will become the president of the Walt Disney World Resort. He was previously the president of Disney Signature Experiences. And then the previous president of Consumer Products, Ken Potrock. I will just reiterate, his last name is Potrock. Hilarious. And he is going to become the president of the Disneyland Resort. Not a visual medium, but I'm just going to showcase a picture of this man's face. Doesn't he look like his last name would be Potrock?
Oh yeah, I have the article up here. Yeah,
brilliant.
You know the way in the article they have both of their pictures side by side, and I'm just like, oh, white males, eh?
Oh, white males in a navy suit and a blue shirt, eh?
Yeah, old white males in navy. Just screams Disney. Screams the chairmans of Disney.
Honestly.
It just screams the Disney board.
Oh, stop. At least they
Josh D'Amaro's, they're all wearing navy. So is your one.
Maybe that's like
the theme
Disney they were going for.
They were like, everyone wear navy. I do have to say, I really like Josh D'Amaro's suit. It's got like a nice pinstripe going on. I feel like he's just a great guy. I feel like he knows what he's doing, but sometimes he goes a little out there, and he just looks so happy to be in his job, and he's always smiling.
Yeah.
When do you see Bob Chapek smiling? Only when he gets to leave. Like, I just, it's just...
Yeah.
I have good vibes.
Me too. I have there, and there was also, like, I was going through Twitter last night when it got announced, and the general consensus from the Disney Twitterverse, which tends to be the loudest.
Yeah, that's very true.
Disney fandoms. Most of them were very happy. Most people were very pleased to hear that it was Josh. So much more than the reaction that Bob Chapek got, I'll tell you. That was not quite so heartwarming, shall we say.
Finding out that Bob Chapek was becoming president was like finding out that people had to wear face masks to go to Disney. That's the kind of, like, do you know what I mean? And like all those people that are like, no to face masks. It's the same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
What good will come from it? I hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's pretty much everything that we have news-wise. The only other thing that I had down to include, so I got an email from Disneyland Paris earlier today.
Woo.
And I'll pull up what it says. Should have had this ready to go. God damn it, Sinead.
Dear Sinead.
Sorry. So a special thank you from your biggest fans. As of our biggest fans and most loyal guests, we'd like to thank you for keeping the magic real in your hearts and imaginations. And then the real cute picture of Minnie Mouse drawn a heart. And it says, because we know you'll stay a dreamer, a hero, a prince or princess at heart, or even intergalactic explorer in a galaxy far, far away during this unprecedented time. Your biggest fans have a very special message for just you. Thank you. And then it had a link to a unlisted video on YouTube, and it was basically you were being led around the park by pixie dust to various different characters, and as it got to each character, the pixie dust would explode into spelling thank you in different languages except for Irish, because why would they bother?
We're just so small.
And then it finished in front of the castle. Huh?
We're just so small compared to everyone else. They're like, you speak English, it's fine.
I know. I know. So yeah, it was very cute. I wasn't expecting. I kind of assumed that the AP emails would stop, especially now that they've stopped the payments and stuff. I just thought they would have been like, "Nah, we don't need to worry about you." But no,
it was cute.
I thought it was cute, nice little touch.
Sinead sent it to me, and I was like, "Aw, sweet." Then I was also like, "Okay, great, cool, thanks."
Yeah, it's not the most necessary thing in the world, but
yeah,
it was cute for them to send, anyways.
Yeah, I was definitely someone being like, "Hey, I've had this idea. Please don't fire me."
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's pretty much everything for the news.
Yep, pretty much. Exciting times. Exciting times. There's stickers on the
ground. Before we move on to the main bit of the episode, so I feel like we've mentioned before in previous episodes that we ourselves and Amy have been doing a book club. Where we meet up on a Sunday, whether we've read a book or not, and generally talk shite for hours on end.
We meet up on Zoom.
Mostly. Yes, via Zoom. And mostly we talk about things that aren't related to whatever book we've picked in any way, shape or form, but it usually gets referenced. So we were on book 3. We finished our 3rd book last week. Is that it? Yes. And the only reason that we are bringing it up on this one is we decided to, I say read, but we all listened to it as an audiobook, which was Bob Iger's autobiography called A Ride of a Lifetime.
Yeah, it was great.
Comical name, but brilliant book. Really, really enjoyed it.
If you're going to listen to it, it is unfortunately not narrated by the author. It is...
No.
So Bob Iger does like the introduction and the end bit, which is stupid.
It's the end. It's like a summary at the end.
Yeah, it's like the best bits to like take away with you as like a leadership thing. I don't know, but the actual book itself was pretty good. I learned a lot about like American media, which I thought was quite interesting, and how they're just crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Bob Iger was such good friends with
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I wanted to say Jim something, but I knew that wasn't.
No.
I wasn't like, yeah. I was like, Jim? Yeah, I didn't know he was such big friends with Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I was chatting to Breffney about the book yesterday, and I mentioned that, and he was like, were they? I thought they just tolerated each other. And I'm like, no, he was one of only 25 people at his funeral. So a lot closer than you think.
Like, I understand the book is written, like Bob wrote the book.
Oh, yeah.
You'd feel like he couldn't, you feel like he'd have to be pretty truthful about that stuff, because there's still a lot of people related to Steve Jobs still alive and would be like, he hated you.
Yeah.
if that was true, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really interesting though, and this is probably just kind of my like nerdy, still vaguely into financials type thing. I thought it was really interesting hearing like the ins and out of like the Pixar deal and the Marvel deal and the deal that they had with Lucasfilm. And one thing that it did make me think of, so we did one of our quizzes a few weeks ago, and one of the questions was how much did Disney pay to acquire Lucasfilm, which was around 4.4 billion, give or take. And I remember the two of us thinking, wow, that seems not little, because 4.4 billion is not a small amount of money in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
However, it's considerably less than they paid for the likes of Pixar and stuff. And I didn't really understand why, because on the face of it, you would imagine that Star Wars, the movies, and the rights to the Star Wars franchise and merchandise and all of that would be worth considerably more. But he kind of goes into how they value the likes of that, how they value the talent that they get, the directors that they get, the pipeline that they get, all of that. And it's kind of like, that's where Lucasfilm was kind of lacking versus the likes of Pixar that had oceans of talent, had oceans of directors, oceans of pipeline, all that kind of stuff. So I found that really interesting, which is, again, just me being a total nerd, but here we are.
No, yeah, it was good because when I was thinking, I was like, I probably would think that way if I'd have had that much of experience and all that sort of stuff from Bob Iger. Like, he went through a lot before he became
Bob Iger.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, he did have a very extensive background in media and that kind of stuff. But I was just like, wow, yeah, I would, like, on the surface of it, you don't think about it because you're not like, Lucasfilm wasn't actually doing anything. It was just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how many, like, of course it makes sense, but as like a layman who just enjoys cartoons, you don't think about how many things Pixar have in production, like years before they're ever going to be released. Like when he went into Pixar, they had like 6 films in production that were released over a span of like 12 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, look at all these things we have. And he was like, whoa, it's mad. It's truly crazy. And now to think of where Pixar is now as Disney Pixar and how much more they have at their disposal now, you got to be like, wow. And then they still came out with Onward.
I know. But what I will say is, if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't read or listened to Ride of a Lifetime, if you're listening to this, you're a Disney fan. But anyways, if you're kind of intrigued in like the behind the scenes type stuff, would highly recommend it. If you send us a DM on Instagram, I think we can send you a link to it via Audible, and if you haven't received a book via Audible, you can get it for free. So if anybody wants,
us, we don't have a promo code or anything. You just do it through Audible.
No, but you can message us and we can send you the like referral thing too. I did that with Brett yesterday, and I don't think he'd accepted a book on Audible, so he got it for free. So give us a shout. We'll see what we can do. Might not work, but we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try.
What would you give it out of 5? We love a rating.
Like, I want to say 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Like, I did like it. The start of it I found quite boring. There was a lot of names of people I didn't know and couldn't remember because I was listening to them, and it was just like I was listening to someone have a conversation, and he'd say people and I'd be like, sorry, have we talked to, who is this? Like, I don't know. Like, he'd say people in passing and I'd be like, are they important? Okay. And there was, I just found the start kind of boring. But when he started getting into more like interesting jobs that weren't just like a runner for a TV show, that's when I realized it. But at the very beginning, I did feel like I just powered through a bit because I wasn't really interested in his very early days. But as a book as a whole, it is really good. But I just couldn't give it a 4 purely for that reason.
That's fair.
What about you?
I am going to give it a 4. I've docked a half a point because it wasn't narrated by Bob Iger. That's fair, from listening to kind of the forward, you've gotten really like used to his voice. And then I find that a lot of Audible voice actors feels like the wrong term. Narrators, that's the correct term, that is. I feel like a lot of Audible narrators can sound a little robotic, and I found the guy that narrated it to be a little robotic because you've obviously just spent half an hour listening to Bob Iger. It's quite jarring. But by like kind of the second chapter, I'd gotten used to his voice and was enjoying it. And I'm also docking a half a point because I would have liked a bit more information about the parks.
Yeah.
I get that Bob is a media guy, and a lot of what he has done has focused solely around buying up intellectual properties in the media sense. So I get that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. It was interesting kind of, especially given the current circumstances where they were kind of navigating what bits of Fox they wanted and how they were like, Fox News, hell no.
Yeah, they were like, we'll sell that.
Loved that. They were like, we don't want that. You can keep that. So that I found quite funny.
And I also really liked, just one last bit about, I just found it interesting was that whenever he went into a meeting to discuss Marvel, he always had his like A to Z of Marvel characters that he like looked at beforehand, and I was like, wow.
What a little cutie, little nerd.
Yeah. He's just like, hey, here we go. Or when he first handed it to Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs was like, I don't want this. Do you think you should buy it or no? Like, I don't really care about your book.
I know. Yes.
What a time. Yes, so that was so it's the ride of a lifetime. Definitely give it a listen if you've got the time. Get
Would
it?
recommend.
Everyone has the time, what I'm talking about. No one's doing it. It's not very long either. I don't enjoy audiobooks that are longer than 10 hours because I feel like I'm slogging through them. I like ones that are under 10 hours, and this one is it's a nice time. It's a good time. You should listen to it.
Absolutely.
I also think it's something that you should listen to and not read, because I feel like if I was reading that, I probably would put it down.
So bored.
I would have been so bored. I'm like, okay, yeah, great. All these numbers and all these people that I don't care about.
Yeah. To be honest, I kind of find that, like, and this is just a personal thing, I don't enjoy reading biographies. I just don't enjoy reading biographies. However, I really like listening to biographies especially because a lot of biographies are narrated by the author and the person that the book is about. So it's always more interesting hearing how they obviously intended it to come across, because they can give the inflections, they know the context behind it, stuff like that. Whereas even if it's narrated by somebody else, they kind of will just read it as plain text.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer listening to autobiographies.
And that's how Sinead sees it.
Hey. So, on to the main topic of the episode.
Yes. Guess what it's not.
Last week, we mentioned that the guys from the Theme Park Trader had a really good episode, which would still highly recommend you go and listen to, where they went around and picked one ride from each of the parks that Disney and Universal have in the world and picked one to ride. I read what I thought this was about and got it completely wrong. So what me and Kate are doing instead, the next
is what Sinead thought they were doing.
This is what I thought they were doing. But now we've just kind of made up our own way. But I'll still give a shout out to Theme Park Trader, because the idea kind of half came from them. So what we've decided we're going to do for the next few weeks, because I still just don't think I can commit to doing in-depth research about rides. So we're still going to take a break from that. Eventually, one day we will finish Fantasyland. But today, or the next few weeks, is not those days. So what we're going to do is we are going to build our dream park. So we are going to use existing things from all of the various Disney parks from around the world, and we are going to collate them into our dream park. We're going to do it land by land, and we're going to take the best bits, or what we think anyways are the best bits, because obviously it'll vary from piece to piece as to what we think is the best. So we decided this week that we would start with Main Street.
I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA.
So that's what we're going to do.
So, do you want to kick us off with how you get into the park? What's your dream entrance?
So I have definitely a non-barrier entrance system, because I hate barriers. I think it's more so that I hate the barriers in Disneyland Paris so much, because they're so slow and sluggish. And I know that we have had that one time that we got to use the new ones in Walt Disney Studios.
So shiny.
That just go whoosh. They're quite nice. But from watching vlogs of people go into Magic Kingdom with just their magic band and their fingerprint, it's just so much easier. It's just it's so much swifter, and you don't have to, and even though the tapping of the magic band and the scanning of the fingerprint still takes about 15 seconds, it's just the ease of just zoom, it just makes so much more sense. So that's what I have.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a magic band. You can still use, do you know the way you can get them on the cards?
Yeah.
And just tap the cards. I'm still okay with that. But I'm definitely in a non-barrier situation.
I feel you, and I totally second that.
Great.
However, the only kind of tweak that I've added to it, so I also enjoy the non-barrier. I enjoy the magic band, so you don't actually have anything in your hands. Mm-hmm. I've gone a step further. So in the Disneyland Resort, when you scan your ticket or your annual pass, the cast member has a little screen and a picture of you will pop up, and they can confirm visually as to whether it's you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of combine the Disney World magic band, no barriers, but have the cast member with the screen. So when you tap your magic band, it comes up with a picture, or they have a little camera there where they can take a picture of you. It's your first time using your ticket. And so that you don't have to use your fingerprint, because COVID-19, you shouldn't be touching shit.
Good. My only problem with that is, not problem, but my only devil advocate with that is that it's basically like the security systems that you get in passport control, in the airports, and they never work for me because I'm too short and they just don't see my face. So
no, I feel you. But
but that's just a troubleshooting issue. That's just honing in on the technology. But in my head, I can just see myself being like, ah.
Yeah. But I think it's not that it has to confirm your face. I think like it gets attached to your profile. So I think when you scan your ticket, your profile pops up with your picture. Fair.
I have just like a cast member there with like an iPad.
Yeah,
be like,
just
that's you.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, okay, great. No, I like that way more. Perfect.
So we're doing a hybrid.
Right.
So the next thing I have down is railway. That's obviously the first thing you come into in a castle park.
I basically have the exact same thing as Magic Kingdom because I think that's how it should be.
Okay.
So like just straight into railway.
Fair.
Railway and flowers.
Are you specifically picking the Magic Kingdom railway?
Yes, because I also have here, just as a note to that, in my ideal world, I would like them to bring the opening, like the rope drop show, back to the train station rather than have it on the castle. Because I have it here. I was like, I understand. I know why the show is being moved to the castle, and overall it makes more sense, and it just makes everything flow. And I understand that it'll never come back, but I enjoy the vibe of having it on the train a lot more.
I feel
purely from an idealistic perspective, I would prefer it on the train. I completely understand why it's not, but I would bring it back to the train.
But you're building your dream park, so...
Exactly. It's just me here. Nobody else is here. It's just me. So there's loads of room for me. I can stand. I can be the special person that gets to go on the train. See? It's just
beautiful.
Everything's coming up, Kate.
I like it. I have gone for the railway from the Disneyland Resort. I like that they always have a Mickey Mouse on the bank. And also, which is probably going to be the theme through a lot of my answers, like the train was put in specifically in that park because Walt was obsessed with trains. That's the train that Walt has gone on. It has the Lily carriage in it. I feel like there's a lot of history with that particular train station.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I would want my castle park to have a train. And I don't have a particular preference necessarily, but I just... personally, with the history behind it, I would go with the Disneyland one because it's cute. Plus, they always have characters out front as well, which what is more exciting than literally just tapping your magic band, them seeing your picture, you get through, there's a princess. Beautiful. Happy days. I'm easily amused.
Then I know you have first hub and then surrounding buildings. This is the one just like detailed heading that I didn't have, but I just want to note here that the one thing I hate about Disneyland Paris is how when you go through the turnstiles and you're immediately hit with just like this random open space and then you have the train station and it just feels a bit weird, and then you've got that weird shop in the middle that has all those tea stands outside that have like hoodies and hats and all that crap on it, and I just hate it. It doesn't feel very Disney. So when you say like first hub, that's what immediately comes to mind, is like as soon as I've come through the tickets and I've seen the train station and I've got that big Mickey Mouse flower arrangement, as soon as I go on there, I want to be hit by the first hub, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see this just like random opening of like no like space, and it doesn't feel, I don't like it. Like when people walk through, they're like, oh wow, Disney, but in Disneyland Paris you don't really hit it until you walk around the corner and then see the castle, which I know seeing the castle is a hit point for all the parks, but there's something about Disneyland Paris where I'm just like, oh, there's a lot of waste space here, and it just feels a bit naff.
No,
is my only opinion towards it. But if I haven't really thought about it, but the whole like first hub thing, I do really like the whole gazebo that Disneyland Paris has. Love an old gazebo. And then just like the surrounding buildings, I just think it's really important to have your city hall, and obviously your city hall. And does someone have a fire station?
Yes, the fire station is in I think Magic Kingdom I have one, but I know there's definitely the fire station in Disneyland Resort because above that is Walt's apartment.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah. You've literally stolen my exact answer. So I had the first... No, we're in sync. I love the DLP first hub thing, like when you actually go under the train station, that hub area is what I'm talking about. I think it's super cute. I think the gazebo is adorable. It's always decked out. The Halloween gazebo decorations are like some of my favorite decorations in all of Disneyland Paris. There's the like spooky lanterns, there's the ghost band. And I love that area. It's great for meet and greets. It's great for just like little candid photos. It's also a viewing area for the fireworks as well, if you plan on staking out in 3-hour wait, probably.
Just for illuminations.
So I really enjoy that as an additional themed area. As for the surrounding buildings, I also would want the Disneyland Resort one. And the reason that I have surrounding buildings is because I would want the fire station with Walt's apartment. And I believe they have various kind of meet and greets and stuff around that area as well, similar to like they have in DLP. But I think they just have general better setting, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why DLP is the way it is, but there's just something about that initial hub area that, like, yeah, it's okay, but there's not really anything special about it. Like, you've got your city hall where you can go and complain, or you can get your orange or green pass, and that's basically what it's pretty much used for. And then you've got the opposite side, which is just a shop, and then all those fake facades, and that's pretty much it. And it just feels space. It just feels like, oh, you know, you could probably do more here. Because like all of the fake facades and stuff, they don't even have any meaning. Because I know we're talking about having a fire station, the Disney Arena fire station, and then an apartment that you can't go into unless you pay extortionate amount of money to go on an experience. But it's like it just has so much more meaning in Disneyland. Yeah, like absolutely. That facade being there makes more sense. Whereas in Disneyland Paris, you've got that fake dentist that just plays the soundtrack of someone getting their molars drilled. And you're like, okay, great.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. So, Main Street, actual main stretch of it. What are you going with?
Main Street, USA. So I said I'd probably lean more towards Disneyland Resort because I've written down, I like the way the things are still cute, and Disney and Main Street, but they're all a bit more realistic. So they're not like 10 foot up in the air, and they're not like over exaggerated, but they're still cute, and they're still, oh, this feels like Disney, but they're also like, oh, these are shops I could go into.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Go on. No, go on.
So I've kind of segmented mine.
Fair.
I put a lot of thought into it. And I have a feeling you're probably going to agree with everything that I'm going to say here.
Oh yeah, I have more to say because by the time we both get to the end, we'll probably have had the same thing.
We'll have amalgamated our dream parks. So I have, for the main actual stretch of it, I also have Disneyland Resort for similar reasons that I have the Disneyland Resort train station, because there's history behind it. Those like very first Imagineers are plastered up and down all of those different buildings. Yeah. There's the little theater that you can go in and watch the Mickey Mouse shorts in. They have that really cute arcade thing, the Candy Palace, all that kind of stuff. However, I have two caveats from the other parks. One, I'm going to need them DLP arcades, because the arcades are the most genius thing, and every park should have them.
Yeah, they're very, very, very good.
They're so helpful. If it's too warm, you get some shade away from the sun. If it's pissing rain and it's cold, you get out of the outside for a little while. When you're trying to leave after the fireworks, you have a little escape route. They're just so the most genius things.
They're so good for guest flow. It's very good. And you can understand why they got put in Disneyland Paris, because it's a place that would suffer more, like, I'm not going to say adverse weather because Florida, but like it's very likely it would be raining all day in Disneyland Paris. And it would never not be raining. Where in Florida, it would rain for 10 minutes and then stop raining.
True.
But in Disneyland Paris, you could have a whole 3 days there where it doesn't stop raining.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the few things that a lot of like vloggers or whatever from the States, when they do go over to DLP, it's the one thing that they're like, why the hell don't our parks have this? Why doesn't Walt Disney World have this? Like, why? Yeah. So I'm gonna insist on having the arcades. And then the only other thing is I would like the level of PhotoPass photographers that Disney World has.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about PhotoPass photographers. You've just unearthed a hatred for me for the lack of them that there are in Disneyland Paris that I've completely forgotten about, because when I went that outrageous amount of time last year, and every time I was like, why isn't it about the best photographers? Why am I paying for this? Why can't they just hire photographers? This is so true. So true. That like this magic shot that they've got in Walt Disney World, like in the middle of the hub, like how extra can you be? Just
honestly,
pay people to take my photo. Please. Please. You can
I
never
told you
have
you'd
too
agree
many
with my 2 little
photographers.
caveats.
You can never have too many photographers in a Disney park.
Agreed.
Like, just come on,
I
Josh
wholeheartedly
Tomorrow,
agree.
get on that. Your first action should be more photographers in Disneyland Paris, because you can do that
Please
now.
and thank you.
Just
So, do
in
you want to cover
relation-
off shops and food, or
Yeah,
have you more to
just-
do on Main Street?
just a tiny little bit. It was just that in the Disneyland resort, the lights that are on Main Street are super super cute at night, and I feel
Agreed.
like it's very like oh, Main Street. And I also just want to make like a hot mention to the bazaar in Tokyo Disneyland. I really like the idea of having. It makes me. I want to say conservatory roof, because that's what it makes me think of. It's
No, I
like
feel
they
you.
have, because over in Asia the idea of like a Main Street USA doesn't really fit culturally. So in Tokyo they have like their bazaar, which is, it's basically a main street with a roof on it, and it makes sense, but it tones everything down a bit. But I do really like the idea of having a main street that has a covering on it, and I do think that in some way that could be really helped for Disneyland Paris, but also I know it wouldn't fit, but I do like the whole idea of having a covering over Main Street, because then you can enjoy Main Street at any time of the day.
This is very true.
For like having your main shopping mall be covered, I like the idea, but in a ideal scenario here, I've opted against it. But I would like to
Okay.
have a hot mention to it, just FYI.
Entirely fair.
Then when it comes to the stores, I've literally just listed them off. I don't have them in a specific order, except for that the bakery should come first, because I want to smell the smells as I walk down Main Street.
Okay.
So I want a bakery at the front and a bakery towards the end, so that the smells just amalgamate for the entire Main Street. That's my only thing. After that, I don't really have an order for them.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
I know that I want the barber shop,
Very good.
the place where you can get your silhouette drawn.
Very
'Cause
good. Yes,
they
I agree.
They don't have that in DLP. I want a Christmas shop that's not inside a castle. I want a Christmas shop that's on Main Street. A homeware
Okay.
shop, a Harrington's. Duh.
I have Harrington's as well.
I want a fashion store just for kids. So almost like the shop they have in Disneyland Paris, except better, because it's just for kids. And so I know where all the kids stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
An emporium, because we obviously need an emporium. And I've just said I would definitely have shops that lean more towards the range of merch that you get in Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World, because the range of merch in DLP is extremely stale and needs a big update.
Entirely fair.
And then I've also just mentioned that, of course, it would need a Casey's, and the bakeries would sell actual good baked goods and candy apples.
Okay,
Oh.
cool.
And my last thing, sorry, and then you can list off everything you have to say. Tokyo has a magic shop in their bazaar, like a magic
Okay.
shop where you go in and you watch a magician do magic, and then you can buy magic sets. And I said
Cool.
I would swap out half of DLP's crap shops for one of these bad boys.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I love yesterday me typing out all this stuff.
So sassy.
Yes, that's my entire Main Street.
I didn't go mega detailed. I would obviously want an emporium. I think, like you said, like a baked shop, a sweet shop. I think the Disneyland Resort has that candy palace thing where they like hand make the candy canes and stuff. Absolutely all about that. The only things I wanted to call out is because I don't have an emotional attachment to pretty much anything on DLP's Main Street except for Harrington's. Harrington's is arguably, that and Thunder Mesa Mercantile are my two favorite stores in DLP, because I feel like Harrington's is where I have spent more money than any other store.
That's because it sells things that you like actually want.
Yeah, it sells nice shit. Real
Yeah.
nice shit.
Like, it sells things that, like, oh yeah, I'll save money and I'll buy this one thing that's actually nice,
Yeah.
rather than all of this other guff that they sell at Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, and it sells stuff that's more unique. So like a lot of the stuff that you can get in Harrington's, you can't really get everywhere else. They do the glass blowing. They have that beautiful glass like dome ceiling. That's where they have all the beautiful paintings and stuff. So Harrington's is an absolute staple. Other than that, everything else can be the Disneyland Resort version of it. I want the Holly Jolly Bakery. I want Casey's that also has vegan and vegetarian stuff. Please, Jesus, because I have never had anything from a Casey's. And it's all I want. All I want is to be able to get a hot dog from Casey's. But bloody Disneyland Paris has nothing vegetarian. So
yeah,
I don't have any attachment for anything except for Harrington's.
Like, I really think that vegetarian and veganism is quite popular in France now, to be honest. And I do think they're actually one of the leading countries in it. And it still baffles me that Disneyland Paris do very little about it.
Like, I would quite happily bring over a pack of like the Denny meat-free sausages, because they're arguably the best you can get now, and be like, can you just cook one of these for me and put them in a bun, please? That's all I'd want.
Yeah.
All I want.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, yeah. I totally agree. I think the merchandise that they have in any of the American parks is always infinitely better than what we get in DLP. So,
even in any
no
of the
contest.
Asian parks as well. A lot of the Asian parks have a
true.
lot of better merch. There's something about DLP where it just sits in the middle, and I really do think it gets forgotten about. Forgotten about. It's just like they're like, oh yeah, here's all of our Asian parks, and here is all of our US parks, and they just forget that they've got one in Europe.
It's just like, and then there's us. So yeah, I feel you with that. So the next thing I have down is the kind of castle hub area.
Yeah, this one I found quite difficult because I feel like the main hub area is all about them feels, and I've only ever been in the Disneyland Paris hub area. So like, obviously I can see pictures and watch videos of Disneyland Resort and Magic Kingdom and Shanghai and everyone else, but I've just written down Disneyland Paris because it's the only one I really know.
Okay.
And I've basically just said I do like the whole split stage thing that they have going on Disneyland Paris. I do think it works really well for parades that are actually designed for it, which are most of the new ones. Most of the new ones. The hub area, Magic Kingdom, I think is too big. I think it's huge. It's basically like a football field.
It is massive.
And I think it kind of draws away like the Disney feeling, like it's just a lot of AstroTurf on the ground. And I just feel like it's not like, ooh, hub. But I also just wrote that this part is really difficult because I've only ever been to the Disneyland Paris hub. Whereas with like shops and stuff, I'm like, I know what a shop is and I know what I want them to sell. But when it comes to like the main hub area, I'm like, that's kind of all I have to go off of. But yeah, they were my points. How about you?
I have gone for the Magic Kingdom one. However, I would want it to be like half the size because it is way too big.
Yeah, I think that was my biggest problem with it, that it's huge.
Yeah. But I like the little hub grass areas. I like them being places that people can go to Casey's and get a hot dog and then go sit on the grass. You see a lot of, especially like family vloggers that'll like use those as just like little play areas for their kids. They'll sit down, they'll have some snacks or whatever, and the kid can kind of just run around. They're usually enclosed off, so the kid's not gonna go like running out under a horse or something stupid like that. I also like I think you've already mentioned it, that like zoom in photo thing that you can do in the hub area that they've started doing in the last year. I think that's really cute and it's really unique. So yeah, it's the one that I feel like has the most like uniqueness to it. With the exception of, I suppose DLP is quite unique because it has the stages. But yeah, I went for that one. Also, I was severely lacking on anything to do with Magic Kingdom, so I was like, I'm gonna give it a pity vote.
Fair.
So now we're on to, I suppose, kind of the big uns.
Yeah. And it's actually the ones I've written the least amount about because I just feel like they all speak for themselves.
Oh, I agree. So, what's your castle, Kate?
I have Disneyland Paris.
Fair.
Because I just think, I know that Disneyland Resort has a lot of meaning towards it, but I just think it's too small when it comes to fireworks shows and stuff. And I know the Walt Disney World one is the most well-known one, but I think it's too big.
Yes.
And I'm just not overly fond of any of the Asian parks castles either. They don't really call to me. So as a general vote of it's the most prettiest, I've gone for DLP.
Agreed. I have said the exact same for all the exact same reasons. The Disneyland Paris one is just stunning. Now I have said, can I have the Disneyland Paris castle with the Disneyland Resort paint job?
Yes. I
Because that
agree.
paint job is beautiful.
Yeah, I would like it to pizzazz a bit more.
Pizzazz.
Yeah. Like when you look at it and you're like, whoop!
Yeah. So DLP Castle, Disneyland Resort paint job. Please and thank you.
Agreed.
So next up I have Castle Show.
And I have Mickey and Minnie's Royal Friendship Fair show because it's so goddamn wholesome and everything about it is amazing. And that's literally all I've written.
Oh my god, I love it.
Why would you not want to see this show every hour of every day? It's so cute.
This is very true. I also have Mickey's Royal. Is it Mickey and Minnie's Royal Friendship Fair? I just thought it was Mickey's.
I think
Oh,
I
my
googled
bad.
it because I didn't know how to spell
I'm
fair.
probably wrong. Yeah, I'm also going to pick this. I did used to love, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was called. But the one that was
it's just Mickey. I just added Minnie for equality. No, it is just Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair.
I feel you. We'll stick with Mickey and Minnie's. I think that's,
in my head, I'm
she
like,
always gets
but
forgotten
why?
about.
Yeah.
She always gets forgotten about. But I can't remember what the show was before Mickey and Minnie's Royal Friendship Fair. I think I can't remember, but it had Maleficent in it, and I loved it.
I feel
But
like it
was like
of the similar vibe, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as structured to a theme.
No, but I like it. I think it has a good mix of characters. I like that Princess and the Frog is in there. Anything that involves Tiana and Naveen, I'm always going to be a fan of. I like that it's seasonal as well.
Yeah.
That the kind of dancers' outfits change.
Yeah.
Fully on board with that. Love. Love that. But yeah, I also chose that because it's probably... Oh, actually, I did also have an alternative though, but I don't know if it technically counts as a castle show, but you can tell me if it is or not.
Okay.
So, you know, in the Disneyland Resort, when all the characters kind of line up in like a semicircle in front of the castle and there's the band and the band are playing Disney songs and the characters are dancing and Kate's getting really stressed thinking about it.
It's so cute. Because they're like there and they're all having a great time. Technically, no.
And the Dapper Dans are there. Oh.
Technically, I don't think it counts. But one thing we didn't put in was like Streetmosphere.
Oh, there we go.
I feel like we could put that there.
Yeah, that and the Dapper Dans.
Yeah, that's it. Done. Don't need anything else.
Bish bash bosh. Fab.
Got that one out of the way.
Parade.
Okay. So I have a daytime parade of Move a Chick at Mouse Could Dance at Street Party because why would I not when it has the best song ever in it?
Daytime parade, but mine's different.
Oh, okay, great. I'm glad I picked a daytime parade then because I thought I was breaking the rules. But I've also said there are so many good daytime parades. Oh no, there's so many good daytime parades. But then you've also got I mixed up my sentences there. Move a Chick at Mouse Could Dance at Street Party for like daytime. And then for the main parade of the day, it's obviously Magic Happens because right now it is just everything that embodies Disney. And this is where I've said I understand that there over the times have been so many great parades, but there's just currently something really special about Magic Happens. I think it really has started changing the way Disney parades work and just the influences that were in it about Todrick Hall being involved and the major like female influence over the parades and even like the main dancers. There's more females than there are males, and there's something about the parade that just it just feels right. And if you ask me to go view any parade right now, it would be Magic Happens, and that's just the way it is.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think Magic Happens perfectly. It perfectly, I suppose, encompasses the core Disney Parks fan base right now, because whereas Disney Parks usually and traditionally have been very heavily marketed towards families and everything like that, and I think it fits the park that it's in so well as well, because the vast majority of people that visit the Disneyland Resort are people between the ages of like 19 and people in their 40s. Yeah. Like couples, friends. It's predominantly adults that don't have children for the most part anyways. Yeah. And I feel like Magic Happens perfectly summarizes that kind of demographic of people. It's got your real like throwback characters like Sword in the Stone, but it's also got some of the really new characters, like you've got your Tiana, you've got Frozen 2 references, you have Moana, but it's also showcasing Coco because there's obviously a very strong Hispanic group of people that live in California as well. Couldn't think of a better way to phrase that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's just beautiful. Magic Happens. Particularly if it's like teetering over to when it's getting dark and you get to see that beautiful Moana float light up. Stunning.
My-
So I also had a daytime parade.
Oh yeah, go on, keep going. Yeah. I'll save my point to the end. Go on, keep going.
And I had this as like an alternative. I didn't necessarily have this as a daytime parade, but I just had it as like a thing because I was going through my list with Breffney yesterday. I have the rainy day parade for Magic Kingdom.
Oh, the rainy day parade's really cute.
It's adorable, and they're all in like little wellies with little jackets, and there's the song. It's so cute.
So many people, I say people, it's mostly Karens, hate the rainy day parade. Because I
love
know
the rainy day parade.
the last day that Magic Kingdom was open before it closed for COVID-19, or was it Disneyland Resort? One of them had to have the rainy day parade because it was raining and it was too dangerous and they couldn't have the main parade. And I don't know if it was a YouTube video or I saw an Instagram video or something, but there was a Karen being like, "You're telling me it's the last day of my vacation and I've come all this way just to see the rainy day parade?" And I was like, leave.
You are blessed.
Just leave.
But like, you think of all the guests that go to Walt Disney World all the time and never get to see the rainy day parade.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. It's so humble. It's so
Same.
cute.
It's adorable, and the song is just so freaking cute. So yeah, that's my slightly obscure daytime parade.
That's fair. I was just going to say about Magic Happens because I never really thought about it. When you said that Magic Happens really fits with the park that it's in, so it really fits in Disneyland Resort. And I was just thinking that because Magic Kingdom is so much bigger and so much like broader and everything like that, I don't know if Magic Happens would fit that well.
No,
with Magic
so
Kingdom,
small.
Because it's not big enough. But it would fit, like, considering both of our ideal parks here are quite similar and they've both got a very similar vibe. I feel like within the parks that we've made ourselves today, Magic Happens fits perfectly.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you were to try and put it in Magic Kingdom, it would just look like an ant. It just wouldn't work at all, which I think it's mad, isn't it?
Like, when you think about the sheer scale of the Magic Kingdom floats, like, because the Magic Kingdom floats are probably the closest thing we can potentially equate them to is the Frozen float in DLP, because the Frozen float is so astronomically huge. And the characters are so far away.
Yeah, you can't really see them unless you're very far away from them. Yeah,
and that's what it's like in Magic Kingdom. And I get it, because Magic Kingdom is massive and the characters there now are perfect for the type of park where the most of the people there are families that are there on their trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So it has to be this over-the-top massive parade with all of your traditional characters and that everybody can see them from everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you. If you had to pick a seasonal parade, what would you pick?
Christmas.
But which one?
Probably the one in Magic Kingdom.
Fair.
Because it is so over the top. I know we just potato that one. But that one in Magic Kingdom, like if I went and watched it on YouTube now, I'd be like, cool, let's go make hot chocolate and like eat some peppermint sticks.
Entirely
you know
fair.
What I mean? It just puts you in the you're like, yeah, it's Christmas. It's like, yeah, boom. And you've got Mickey and Minnie and you've got them on the thing and it's just very Christmas. So probably that one. And also that's probably also like my ideal random parade to ever see, because I think it would hit me in a feel so much, because it would mean that I'm at Magic Kingdom at Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is just whew. So yeah, probably that one. What about you? Well, I think I know what your one is, but go on.
See, I love all of the Halloween parades. There's not a single one that I don't enjoy. So, probably Boo to You.
Yeah, I was like, it's definitely not going to be the DLP one.
But I have that DLP song though.
Yeah.
Vive la Vie is just amazing. And I have to say, I prefer the Mickey Mouse float and the whole Mickey Mouse thing in the DLP parade than I do in Boo to You, because he's kind of just a little bit boring in Boo to You. He's just in a gazebo with Minnie and the ducks.
There's a lot going on in the DLP one. It's a lot of lots of coordination.
Yeah. But overall, Boo to You, like the grave diggers from the Haunted Mansion with the ballroom dancers from the Haunted Mansion. But if I could have Boo to You, but if I could take out the weird chicken bit and the weird like yeehaw bit and just get rid of that.
That's like Thanksgiving. That's what that is. That's like, hey.
Yeah. If I could get rid of that and then either have the Phantom Manor, the whole Mickey Mouse bit from DLP, or have the Nightmare for Christmas bit from the Disneyland parade, I'd happily do that because I don't need the clucky chicken. I'm good. As much as I love Clarabelle, I don't need the clucky chicken.
It's just so random.
It's so strange.
It literally goes from whoa to.
So, last but not least, or at least I think it's last but not least, fireworks.
Do you know what? I really struggled.
Oh.
I found it quite hard because really I'll have anything that isn't illuminations. So my pick was quite big. No, because literally every other fireworks show from an American park hits you real in the heart. Yeah. The thing is, when you go to the Asian parks, fireworks aren't really a thing over there. Okay. And they use them for different reasons. It's all to do, so when you get to the Asian parks, there's just so much more like culture, and I don't want to use the word superstitions because that's probably the wrong word, but like culture mostly, where different things are associated for different reasons that they're not in like the Western world. So when you go to a lot of Asian parks, they're not really all about the big pizzazz and the big shows in the evening and that kind of stuff. They're very, very minimalistic.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I've not picked any shows from the Asian parks, but I know that when it comes to picking our stuff from like lands, I'll hit the Asian parks a lot more because they have some wackadoo going on. But when it comes to the fireworks, I've basically written down dreams / happily ever after, but then I also have, it depends on the side of the castle, because if you're looking at having a bigger castle, then you could also have wishes, no problem, and make everyone cry. Yeah. But like you couldn't have dreams. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't hit as hard. Yeah. But then I also wrote down Disneyland Forever because I know how great that one is. And then I just wrote down, I think it's very unfair to try and pick one in an ideal park because they're just all so great. I love Dreams because it was the first fireworks I ever saw. Yeah. Wishes and Happily Ever After both hit the exact same way, I feel. Okay. I know that when you've seen them in person and if you've watched both of them a lot in person, they both hit different. But to me, they both hit pretty similar. Like without hearing like the wishes or like the happily ever after. Like if you took those away, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you which was which. Okay, fair. Because I've just not watched them enough. But then I know that Disneyland Forever is so emotional and it's just amazing, but it's also on such a small castle. Yeah. And so, and then I just end up with Dreams again, don't I? So I guess Dreams. Okay. But I do like, I don't know. Yeah. I just don't want illuminations is really what I'm going for here. I want to make sure that when you have a fireworks show, it's more fireworks than it is projections. Agreed. And it's got to have your hard hitters. So it's got to have your ones where people know the words and it makes people cry. Of course, you can also have like the Star Warsy bit and like the Pirates of the Caribbean bit and all that sort of stuff. But why would you have live action Beauty and the Beast in it when it's a movie that only lasted 6 months? Tell me why, Illuminations. Like that's why you got to go for like Happily Ever After and Wishes sort of vibe. Because like you could put Dreams on now, which it hasn't been on for like the past 5 years, and it would still be perfect. Agreed. But you play Illuminations now and it's outdated. Absolutely. I could have a whole podcast just talking about fireworks. Because they're so important. I just feel like the fireworks show is the most, if you're going to stay till fireworks, it's the most important part of your day. Oh, big time. Because it involves the most planning, arguably. Yeah, because you want to make sure you've got a good spot. You want to make sure that you're not going to get too cold, that you're not going to be hungry, you don't need to go to the bathroom, everyone's there. And you got to make sure that you know your route for getting out afterwards. And if, like Illuminations, you've watched it and you're like, oh, this was a bit crap, then you feel a bit down because you're like, oh, I spent all this time planning and the show was actually not that good. So it's just, it really amalgamates your day together. And I think it's really, really important. That's why I feel so passionate about it. I feel you. I agree. Hey, what did you pick? I picked Disneyland Forever. Right, good choice. Because I think you could expand that to go on to the Disneyland Paris Castle. That's fair. Quite well. Because width-wise, I don't think they're that different. It's obviously mainly the height. Yeah, okay, fair. But also, because Disneyland Forever has that tangled bit with the lanterns, you could easily take what was in Dreams and hoof it on and it'd be perfect. Yeah. But the main reason why I went for Disneyland Forever is because they do the projections down Main Street. Yeah, I also
And
wanted to
that's
point
what
that
I
out.
want.
Yeah,
That's what I want. Like, whenever you watch vlogs and stuff where people are watching Disneyland Forever, everyone always says, watch it from the middle of Main Street because it's so much better. Because it's like you're engulfed by the whole thing. And I love the idea of that because it just makes Main Street feel like a total party.
Yeah, because the thing is, with every show that's ever been on in Disneyland Paris, they don't do anything on Main Street, which means to be able to see it properly, you have to be in that main hub area. Like, there really isn't much point standing on Main Street because they have all that water feature that doesn't go very high, it's very low, and if you're not standing right up there, you miss it. But even with Dreams, oh my god, so do you know the way with Dreams you've got Peter Pan and Wendy? Even if they put Peter Pan on one side and Wendy on the other of Main Street, then you'd still be completely involved in it without having to be within an inch of its life to the castle. Guys, I've sorted it. Get me onto DLP. Josh tomorrow, hit me up. I fixed your problem. Firstly, fucked Illuminations, throw out the USB, set it on fire, no one wants it. Bring back Dreams, and I'll projection map it onto Main Street for you.
There you go. Beautiful.
Watch your ticket sales soar. I'm telling you now, though, if they told me they were bringing back Dreams after COVID, I'd be like, get me there now.
So the 30th for Disneyland Paris is in 2022. If they said, rather than coming up with any form of a new fireworks or anything like that, if they just said, yeah, we're bringing back Dreams, take all my money.
Yeah,
get me there.
I'd go. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. No problems.
Oh.
It's just so much better. There's more fireworks. The songs are better. The idea for the show is better. Just the idea, like, why would you, like, you don't want to be illuminated. You want to have a nice dream. Like, it just, everything just, stupid DLP.
I like how similar our dream parks are, though.
Yeah, I feel like it's, do you know when we do our, like, our other series where we research the rides and all that sort of stuff? I feel like Main Street is the same sort of idea of Fantasyland, that there's nothing, like neither of us have any massive favoritism over Main Street because it's just something that we both enjoy to an equal amount. So I think that's why it's quite similar for both of us. Yeah. But when it gets to other lands, I think we might diverge a bit because we both have different preferences in those lands. But when it comes to Main Street, like, Main Street has one purpose and one purpose only. And I think we are both heavily agreed on that.
Basically. Keep the castle, give it a paint job. Everything else just needs to be better than DLP currently has now.
Boom. That's it. Easy peasy. Say it once, say it a third time. Josh tomorrow. Get me on the phone.
And then just before we finish up, so I popped up first of all, I popped up a question thing onto our Instagram earlier today, asking if anybody had any questions for us. And we only had one question come through, which was from the lovely Sandy, aka Glowteeny_Genie. And she asked, did Kate brave a trip to Woody's?
No, I did not. I haven't been anywhere. I went to Centra today. That's a lie. I went to Centra. Do you know why I went to Centra? Well, I went to Centra because I had to go somewhere else. But I went to Centra because all I've wanted for the past whole of lockdown is chicken nuggets. And because our family's doing, like, Slimming World all day, every day, which has been fine. Like, I haven't hated it. It's been grand. I say that, but I'm the one that's baking all of the non-Slimming World things. I'm like, yes, brownies, banana bread. Basically, though, I've been like, we haven't added things to, like, the major shop that are more unhealthy than usual. But all I've wanted for the past week solid has been chicken nuggets.
Oh.
And it was so warm today as well. So we went down to Centra and we got knockoff cornettos and some chicken nuggets and some ice. And I was like, yes. So no,
I feel like have not been.
Go on.
No, go ahead.
No, so have not been to Woody's, but have been to Centra to buy chicken nuggets. But I do have a plan for the big empty wall in my room to do one of those TikTok tape walls, with the geometric shapes, to basically make it look like the purple wall in Disney World. So I might get that done. And if so, that will require a trip to a homeware store, a hardware store. But that probably won't be until next week because we'll let it lie. We'll let it lie low for a bit. We'll see how people get on. It's not an emergency in any form of the word.
Entirely fair. All I was going to say is I feel like I have 10 million bags of corn nugs, so I would. That's
because I'm not there.
Send you several. Because normally it's like, Kate's not gonna like what I'm cooking. I'll just make you nugs.
That sounds so unfair. It's just the one. It's only the
I know.
one dinner, but you always have it.
It's because it's easy and I can make it in bulk. But
And so are corn nugs.
So I posted another post asking, with the new measures that are in place in Shanghai and in Disney Springs, will you be visiting a Disney park ASAP? So I put up a poll as to whether people said yes or whether people said no. And then I also asked why people said what they said. So currently, poll's been up for 8 hours and currently we're sitting at 30% yes, 70% no.
Right, yeah.
So I'll go in and have a look at some of the comments. So the first one we had was from the lovely Chloe, which is Earth_2_Chloe. And she said, it looks more clinical than magical and I'd rather wait a while longer personally, which I think is very fair.
Yeah, so do I. It doesn't feel Disney.
Yeah.
Which
is one thing that I think
of them.
Yeah. Do you know what I think is one thing that would help though? So even from watching Tim's vlog earlier, the cast members all had like black face masks on. And I was like, here lads, you need to get onto your costume department and make ones that match the costumes for the various areas.
Yeah, specifically because in Disney Springs, they have these new form of cast members that are there to tell people about all of the new things they've got going on. And they're in a costume that I've never seen before. So I think it's like a newish or obviously like just one of their like generic costumes, but I've definitely never seen it before. But it's like bright yellow and orange and red and you can see them far away and it's perfect. And I'm like, was it really that hard to give them like yellow face masks? Because in City Walk, Toothsome's open and they have their like steampunk characters out. And one of them is a robot who doesn't need a face mask to the general eye. But the other one is a girl who's just a face character. And she has a face mask on, but it's like deep brown and it matches her outfit to a T. And you don't even notice it. It's just sort of there. So I definitely do think that's a really good point. I do think their face masks need to match their costumes.
Yeah, they need to be themed. I would just point out, though, the robot does have a face mask on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but it was just...
I thought it was such a like hilarious thing that they decided to do. I was like, okay, good job, Universal.
Then Sam, who's the dot girl dot in dot the dot castle. Thanks, Sam. Sam said, would depend on shows and characters for me. If they aren't there, then it's a sad no for me. I do completely respect and understand that. Personally, I do think that if there are no shows and there are no characters, you're losing half of what you've paid for. So unless they have ticket prices, no. Because when I go to a park, obviously everything's subject to change and subject to cancellation. But on a general regular day, when I pay for admission into a park, I expect to have everything that's there. Not just the rides, because that's not the whole thing. If I wanted to go to rides, I'd go to Six Flags.
Agreed.
Obviously not here, but you know what I mean.
I feel you though. So then we have Laura, which is Laura's palette of thoughts. To go all that way, I'd want to be sure all the shows, etc., would be on. I don't think they will be yet. So Laura predominantly visits Disney World. I think she unfortunately actually had to miss the trip because of everything that's going on at the minute. So I agree. I think it'd be one thing if it was DLP. And I think we mentioned this on a show previously, because we've gone so many times, because we're annual pass holders, I feel like there's not that much kind of pressure. But if I was to fork out realistically a couple grand to go to either of the American parks or even more to go to any of the Asian parks, like I would want to make sure that I'm getting that full experience, because who the hell knows when I'd get to go again. Whereas with DLP, because it is that much cheaper to go to DLP, you're talking a couple hundred versus a couple thousand.
Yeah.
And I know that it's probably not going to be that long before I'd go back to DLP. I think it is slightly different depending on the park you're talking about.
Yeah, fair. Then the lovely Sandy, who we had on last week, who is Glitter and Bows IRE, has said, sorry, I just have to go into share response because it's too long. She said, I'd be happy to just sit on a bench on Main Street, but if I had a family or high risk people around me, then no. That's also pretty fair. It's like, yeah, by myself, sure, but if it meant bringing other people or a high risk person, then absolutely nada, not a hope.
Yeah, agreed. And we have engineered_does_Disney. My trip is until November. Either things will be smooth or will reschedule, which I think is the case for a lot of people. So either things will kind of have gone back to some level of relative new normal, or a lot of people will just reschedule, which I think is entirely fair.
Yeah, I agree. Then we have Jessie, who I assume answered no to the poll and just wrote, "'Cause I ain't stupid, X."
I feel like I'm right there with you, Jessie. Then we have a breezy day life. Yeah, we'll go with that. They said DLP because we're annual pass holders and it's only a 3-hour drive, but would not travel. So I think kind of similar to what we said. They're annual pass holders. It's relatively easy for them to get long distance. That's what they mean by LD. There we go.
I was staring at it going,
Yeah.
long distance.
So again,
so
similar to what we've just said, because they're annual pass holders and live close to DLP, they'd be happy to kind of go with current restrictions, but it's a big investment both in time and money to go to the further afield parks. So I understand not being willing to fork out the full amount for not a full experience.
Yeah, and I do feel like a lot of pretty much all the comments we got there are very European based.
Yes.
And I do believe that Europe is handling things a bit differently to America. And I even want to say Canada's handling things differently to America. So I do think that everyone who isn't in America is going to have a different opinion on this than Americans. Not all Americans. Some Americans understand what's going on. But there are some who are just like, no, I want everything to reopen now.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were looking for kind of a more Floridian perspective on things is probably the best way I could put it. Mm-hmm. So another After Dark podcast, the Disney Dream Girls, this week had a guest on who is a Florida local, and he was on discussing the current measures that are in place in City Walk. He was there on the day it reopened, so he was kind of given some, I suppose, information about what the layout was like there, what his kind of initial thoughts were, what was open, what wasn't, the kind of feedback. He spoke to some team members, stuff like that. So if you want to kind of hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, would recommend going and listening to the Disney Dream Girls latest episode, and I'll be sure to link that in the show notes as well if you do want to check it out.
Excellent.
I think that's pretty much everything. I feel like we've covered like 10 million things.
Yeah, so do I, yeah, but I feel like it went pretty well. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
So if you want to check us on Instagram, it's at Mickey Waffles Pod on Instagram. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and everything's in the show notes, which if you're on Spotify, you can look at the show notes. Haha! You just go into the podcast and it's right underneath. There's a lesson you learned for today, lads, because I know that most people either listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So there you go. Show notes. All your info.
There we go. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please do leave us a review, give us a rating. It really does help us out and we would greatly appreciate it. And as mentioned, we're doing our next quiz on the 29th of May. So if you want to be part of that, drop us a DM and we will send you the information about it. We would love to see your lovely faces via Zoom.
Not a clue what the quiz is going to be yet, but you know it's going to be fun.
Did we come up with like an outfit theme?
I
don't know if we did.
I don't think we have. I don't think that was
the
agreed
last
upon
time
on the previous call.
Yeah, the last one was Dapper/Disney Bound. I think we could probably do Disney Bound again.
Yeah, probably. I feel like
I think that's neat.
all these kind of people that we have them chat with, they're like, I have 10,000 Disney Bounds at my immediate disposal.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could do Disney's Bound or Spirit Jersey. Honestly, you can wear what you want. Like, we put these in just for fun, but don't come because you don't think you have an outfit.
Yeah, maybe Spirit Jersey would be a good one.
I like Spirit Jerseys because I have like 8 of them.
Says the girl currently wearing a Spirit Jersey. But yeah. Anyways, thanks very much for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess we'll chat to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.